Are you going to seek the GOP nomination come 2012?
Well, it's a question I get asked a lot, but the answer is always the same. I haven't ruled it out, but it's not a decision that I plan to make until much later this year, which for some seems to be a little maybe later than normal.
מייק הקאבי נולד באותה עיירה שכוחת אל שבה נולד ביל קלינטון, הופ ארקנסו. שניהם אגב הפכו ברבות הימים למושלי המדינה. אבל כאן מסתיים הדמיון.
It goes all the way through the other states and ends at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue 1 year from now.
כשזה מגיע לישראל ולמזרח התיכון, מייק הקאבי רואה שחור לבן. זה קשור ישירות לעברו ככומר אוונגליסטי.
While Judaism can exist without Christianity, Christianity cannot exist without Judaism. Everything about Judaism is the foundation of my own spiritual life as a Christian believer. But it's also important to me as a person who loves freedom and who values democracy.
ובנימין נתניהו הוא פשוט מושא הערצה.
I think, in fact, he is one of the world's great leaders, not just an Israeli great leader. One of the world's great leaders, one of the most articulate and I think clearest minds we have on the planet today. How are you doing, Mr. Prime Minister?
Good to see you.
Great to see you again.
I see you all the time.
Well, good. I'm glad you're watching.
הקאבי משתייך למה שמכונה החברים של ביבי באמריקה.
These are great friends. Great.
Tell me, how great friend?
Great, none greater. None greater.
אלה שיעמדו לימינו, אבל ממש לימינו, בכל פעם שממשל כזה או אחר ילחץ עליו לוותר על שטחים, או להקפיא בנייה.
You're aware of that most Israelis, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, have accepted the idea of two-state solution. You're aware of that?
I'm aware of that, certainly. Yeah.
Have you?
The great thing about politics is we don't all have to agree on every issue in order to have respect. If you have two people claiming the same piece of real estate and trying to govern it at the same time, I simply don't understand how that's functional or practical. One thing I can tell you is there would be no discussion of, let's see if we can get along, if one of the sides does not even believe that I should exist, much less exist peacefully.
This is a ritual that every visitor to this office has to go through.
Okay?
נתניהו מאפנט אותו. הקאבי מתמסר בשמחה.
These are ancient weights. This is a shekel, this is a 4 shekel piece, 2 shekel piece, 1 shekel piece, half a shekel. This was found next to the western wall. But they also found a signet ring there, and it has a name inscribed in ancient Hebrew. It says Netanyahu.
Israeli media was quite surprised at how quickly the United States has abandoned its ally of 30 years, President Mubarak.
I think from a political perspective, it appeared that they were looking at this as, we don't know who's going to win. We're going to pick the winners. There's an old saying in America, some of my friends are for it, some of my friends are against it, and I'm always with my friends. And I think what we were seeing was exactly that.
It makes you wonder, what has been great for 30 years is just like that suddenly not good enough anymore?
The president will have to answer why he has had such a, let's say, a sudden change of heart as to the role of Mubarak. Now, to be fair to the president, he has made it clear that he thought that reform should have come, and many of his public speeches, including the one in Cairo, was indicative of saying, in some measures, rather boldly, that there needed to be reforms.
It's to your left, politically.
Oh, I can't imagine that he would ever do that. Daddy is a very good friend and very fond of him.
בכנסת הוא מוזמן לדיון על אנטישמיות על ידי חברי הכנסת מימין ועוד יותר מימין.
אם הייתי צריך לתרגם בעברית, אני לא מתורגמן, והייתי אומר שחזון אובמה נכשל.
Any threat to Israel is a very real threat to the United States.
הם מקשיבים ומתמוגגים.
Our threat by the radical. The question is, should Jerusalem be divided? I think the answer is no. My plan to secure the border? 2 words. Chuck Norris.
למייק הקאבי יש חיבה לשחקני הוליווד.
Mike Huckabee is a lifelong hunter who'll protect our Second Amendment rights.
ואם שמתם לב לדמות מוכרת ברקע זה נכון.
Mr. Voigt. Yes. Hi, I'm Jacob Charlton. It's very nice to see you. I'm very surprised. You're a great actor turned politician lately?
No, I'm not a politician, but and thank you for saying I'm a great actor. That's a very kind thing.
השחקן ג'ון וויט מלווה אותו בביקורו כאן בארץ. כן, אביה של אנג'לינה ג'ולי, והאיש שבהזדמנות זו יפתור תעלומה רבת שנים.
You bought a car because it belonged to John Voight?
No.
I think yes.
What about the car, by the way? I always wondered.
What?
About the
Was
car.
it my car?
Yeah. The
You know,
John Voight's car.
my mother had a car.
Yeah.
That was a LeBaron.
You're gonna love this car, even if you don't like John Voight.
I like John Voight. Just seems like kind of a strange reason to buy a car because he might have driven it.
But the fellow who wrote the script, he came to me and said, could you come around the corner? And when I was shooting, he said, is that your car? Because someone sold it to me saying it was your car. I said, no, I'm sorry, it's not my car.
מכונית או לא, מי שעשוי להיות יום אחד בבית הלבן לא מהסס לרגע ורץ בגשם להנחת אבן פינה לפרויקט של עטרת כהנים במזרח ירושלים.
If and when you are the President of the United States, do you think you will be an honest broker here in the Middle East?
I would like to think so. I think that the key there is honest. One reason that we don't have a lot of the solutions that we would like diplomatically is because of the duplicity of the people who are engaged. And I think that a lot of people, even who disagree with me, had rather deal with me knowing where I come from rather than that I'm going to tell people what they want to hear just because I happen to be with them at the time.